16 tracks, 77 minutes, $30 million in production costs, $25 million in promotional spending. Recorded across 11 studios in Los Angeles, Miami, New York, Norfolk, and Philadelphia. Worked on from October 1997 through September 2001, 4 years of sessions, the longest recording window of any project in Michael Jackson's catalog. And when it finally arrived on October 30th, 2001, the album sold roughly 8 to 10 million copies worldwide and was promptly written off by both Sony Music and the global pop press as a commercial disappointment. That is the story of Invincible, the most expensive album ever made at the time of its release. The album that should have launched Michael Jackson's 21st century. The album that opens with a Notorious B.I.G. guest verse, the rapper's voice arriving from beyond the grave, 4.5 years after his March 1997 murder, and that closes with a Carlos Santana guitar solo on a track called Whatever Happens. The album that, more than any other Michael Jackson release, deserved better. 16 tracks, 1 ranking. Let's start with the 4 that land at the bottom, not because they're failures, but because Invincible's depth means even its least effective moments are packed with ambition and big swings. At number 16, 2000 Watts stands out for its sheer oddity. Tyrese Gibson shares a co-writing credit, and Michael's voice is so heavily processed, you would be forgiven for thinking it was someone else entirely. The digital filter is deliberate, but it is a divisive effect, more technical experiment than classic Michael Jackson. At 15, Privacy goes straight for the tabloid press, channeling Michael Jackson's anger at paparazzi in the wake of Princess Diana's death. The production is aggressive, the lyrics direct, but the message gets lost in the noise. It is a raw nerve, not a refined statement. Number 14 is The Lost Children. This one drifts into sentimental territory, with a lullaby vibe that feels out of place on such a high-stakes album. There is an unverified rumor about Prince Michael's background vocals, but nothing in the official credits. The song's heart is in the right place, but it does not land emotionally or musically. At 13, You Are My Life closes out the first set. Written with Babyface and Carole Sager, it is the last new studio recording Michael finished before his death. The intent is pure, but the arrangement is syrupy, and the melody never quite takes off. Even so, these tracks show the range of Invincible's sessions, from digital R&B experiments to open wound confessions. The real climb starts now. Drop your own bottom 4 in the comments, especially if you think 2000 Watts deserves more love. Number 12, Break of Dawn gives the album its first real after-dark groove. Dr. Freeze, best known for co-writing Poison, shapes a slow burn R&B track that is all velvet and restraint, no flash, just atmosphere. It never got a single release, but the craftsmanship is there in every melodic turn. At 11, Heartbreaker lands with Rodney Jerkins' Darkchild at his absolute peak. The beat is relentless, the synths are razor sharp, and Michael's vocals slice through the mix. It is a masterclass in early 2000s club production, buried on an album most critics never heard past track 5. Slot 10 belongs to the title track, Invincible. This is Michael in full orchestral armor, with strings swelling and a guest rap from Fats. The ambition is obvious, a widescreen pop assault that could have opened the album, but instead sits mid-sequence, daring listeners to keep up. At 9, Whatever Happens brings in a living legend, Carlos Santana. His guitar solo is unmistakable, weaving through the song's drama and lifting it to a place few pop albums even attempt. That is not a cameo, that is a statement Michael was still calling in giants. Number 8 is Butterflies. Written by Marsha Ambrosius and Andre Harris of Flowtree, it is a neo-soul glide that found its way onto R&B radio as a promo-only single. No video, no push, but it still charted, proof that quality finds its way, even when a label looks the other direction. Finally, at 7, Threatened closes this run with a Rod Serling-style spoken word intro and a beat that could soundtrack a horror film. Michael leans into the monster persona, twisting his voice over a track that feels both classic and futuristic. These 6 tracks show Invincible's range: late-night seduction, digital bravado, orchestral pop, and even a Santana guitar duel. The top 6 are coming, but already, this is a catalog most artists would envy. Drop your own rankings below, especially if you think Butterflies deserve the crown, or you are ready to defend Heaven Can Wait as number 1. Number 6, Cry. Michael brings in R. Kelly, fresh off a run of chart-topping ballads, and the result is a widescreen gospel anthem that aims for unity and uplift. But here is the twist. The official video, directed by Nick Brandt, does not feature Michael at all. No moonwalk, no cameo, just a line of strangers holding hands in the rain. That decision was not label sabotage. It was Michael's call, a quiet refusal to play the pop star game on command. The song itself is pure craft, layered harmonies, a surging choir, and an arrangement built to fill stadiums. But without a star turn in the video, Sony barely promoted it. The message got lost in the static, but the track holds up, proof that even Michael's so-called misfires had ambition to spare. At 5, Speechless strips everything back. No flashy production, just Michael and a melody, inspired by a water balloon fight at Neverland. The song is almost entirely a cappella, with Michael stacking his own vocals in intricate layers. No other track on Invincible sounds this vulnerable or this direct. It is an old-school ballad, but the recording approach is all risk, a reminder that Michael's greatest strength was never just his voice, but his willingness to let it stand alone. If you want to hear what made him different, start here. Number 4, Unbreakable. This is where the album's sonic ambition hits its peak. Rodney Jerkins builds a wall of digital funk, Michael fires off rapid verses, and a posthumous verse from the Notorious B.I.G. is cleared and dropped in like a time capsule. The vocal layering is dense, the groove relentless, and the message clear. Michael was still swinging for the fences. The track's sample clearance paperwork reads like a legal thriller, Sony's lawyers negotiating with Bad Boy and Biggie's estate to make it happen. No radio single, no video, but the track's DNA is all over 2000s R&B and hip-hop. Invincible was not following trends, it was setting them. Drop your own top 6 in the comments, especially if you think Unbreakable deserved to go even higher. At number 3, You Rock My World signals Michael Jackson's last great pop surge. The song's release was a full-scale event, a Billboard Hot 100 Top 10 debut, a short film featuring Marlon Brando's final screen appearance, and a production that spares no expense. Strings sweep, bass lines pulse, and Jackson's voice moves between silk and gravel. Sony's promotional machine was in overdrive, clearing every legal hurdle for a launch that briefly made Invincible seem untouchable. The momentum, though, would not last. Still, the track's impact is undeniable, a glimpse of what the album could have achieved with sustained support. Second is Unbreakable, the album's boldest statement. Rodney Jerkins crafts a digital funk landscape, while Jackson's vocals cut through with urgency. The Notorious B.I.G. appears in a posthumous verse, his presence secured after Sony's legal team navigated a labyrinth of sample clearances with Bad Boy and Biggie's estate. No single, no video, yet the song's influence rippled through R&B and hip-hop for years. Unbreakable didn't just keep pace with the times, it set the tone for a new era. At the summit sits Heaven Can Wait, Teddy Riley's defining moment. A slow jam layered with harmonies and velvet vocals, it was slated for single release before Sony abruptly canceled the rollout. No video, no radio campaign, just the song, standing alone. Heaven Can Wait is the album's hidden masterpiece, a track that never got its due. Its absence from the charts is a reminder that sometimes the brightest gems remain just out of reach. July 2002. Michael Jackson steps up to the microphone at the National Action Network headquarters in Harlem. Cameras roll as he calls Sony Music chairman Tommy Mottola mean, a racist, very, very, very devilish. The words hit headlines within hours. Sony's official response lands just as fast. The accusations are ludicrous, spiteful, and hurtful. This was not a private feud. It was a public detonation. The fallout is immediate. The label's top executive is now the villain in Michael's story, and the rift between artist and corporation is out in the open. That's when the gears of promotion grind to a halt, and Invincible's fate is sealed not by music, but by corporate warfare. Sony's response wasn't just public relations. It was a boardroom maneuver. Internal memos, later cited by former executives, document a swift cut to the promotional budget. Planned singles like Heaven Can Wait and Break of Dawn were shelved. Radio campaigns halted mid-flight. Music videos scrapped. Ad buys pulled from rotation. The $25 million marketing war chest was never fully spent. Instead of a global push, Invincible slipped into silence, its strongest tracks left stranded by a label that had simply walked away. The music didn't fail. The machinery behind it did. 16 tracks, millions spent, and one truth. Invincible's fate was sealed not by its music, but by a corporate Cold War. Jackson delivered. Sony did not. The album's legacy deserves correction, not erasure. Drop your own ranking, especially if you think Heaven Can Wait or Butterflies takes the crown.